Madonna inspired Napoli to their first Serie A title. In their first European Cup campaign the following season, Napoli drew Real Madrid in the first round. That meant that the champions of either Italy or Spain, two of Europe's biggest TV markets, being eliminated, while, given Lillestrøm, drew Linfield and Shamrock Rovers faced Omonia, the champions of Norway or Northern Ireland, and Ireland or Cyprus went through. To the AC Milan owner, Silvio Berlusconi, a lawyer and cruise ship singer turned media tycoon, this made no sense. The European Cup has become an historical anachronism, he said. It is economic nonsense that a club such as Milan might be eliminated in the first round. It is not modern thinking. The randomness of the draw that had been part of the appeal of football since the FA Cup began in 1872 was under threat, and football was on the cusp of entering a new era. After the disappointment of the 86-87 season, Berlusconi commissioned the London advertising agency Saatchi & Saatchi to design what he called a European Television League. Alex Finn, who'd already pitched a Super League at an event hosted by the Rothmans Football Yearbook, was given the job. Quote, "I did what I thought he wanted, not necessarily what football needed," he said in a recent interview with The Independent. Quote, "So this Super League was based on merit, tradition and television, and therefore it was a league for big television markets. I think it had a league of about 18 clubs, and certainly 2 each from England, Italy, Spain. That was the plan." UEFA rejected the proposal, which Finn would later describe as a stalking horse, but it added to the sense of mounting desire for change. The Scottish champions Rangers had invested heavily in signings such as the England internationals Terry Butcher and Trevor Francis, their willingness to move amplified by the post-Heysel ban on English clubs. They argued that the unpredictability inherent in knockout competitions made it hard to set a budget. Their secretary, Campbell Ogilvie, proposed more guaranteed games in the European Cup and thus steadier revenue streams through the introduction of a group stage. Now, at an emergency congress in autumn 1991, UEFA's 35 members voted on proposals presented by Ogilvie and the Real Madrid president, Ramon Mendoza, replacing the quarterfinals with 2 groups of 4 for that season's competition. UEFA contracted the marketing company Team to oversee from what the following season would be known as the Champions League, with its own branding and anthem. The structure might not quite have been the league that Berlusconi had initially proposed, but his thinking was adopted in full. As far as possible, remove the jeopardy for the most popular clubs and have them play each other as often as possible, making money for big clubs, media moguls, players and agents. The crucial shift to the modern world, the prioritization of content over jeopardy, of revenue generation over sporting merit, had been accepted. At the same time, leading clubs in England were embracing reforms of their own. English stadiums were in a deplorable state, a major factor in the disaster at Bradford in 1985, in which 56 spectators were killed in a fire. Although hooliganism was waning, it had not been eliminated, and the post-Heysel ban on English clubs from European competition was not lifted until 1990. There was a recognition that there was need for investment in infrastructure, and an understanding that better facilities would lead to better behaviour and greater revenues. Something fueled by a trip the Arsenal vice-chairman David Dein took to a Miami Dolphins game. Now, whether that required a breakaway was debatable, but the spirit of community that had maintained the league since its inception in 1888 had been overtaken by Thatcherite economics, which had already swept away the prohibition on directors making a profit from clubs, and the percentage of gate receipts that home teams paid to the away side after league games. From 1986, top-flight clubs took 50% of all television and sponsorship revenue. By 1988, with talk of a 10-team Super League rife, that figure had risen to 75%. In 1990, the Big Five of Arsenal, Everton, Liverpool, Manchester United and Tottenham began plotting a breakaway. The Football Association, which had been squabbling with the Football League for decades, backed it, and on the 17th of July 1991, the Founder Members Agreement established the basic principles for the foundation of the Premier League to begin, with a controversial television deal with the satellite channel Sky in August 1992. In just a few months, both the Champions League and Premier League were founded, and football was bound on its path to the modern world of commercialisation and financial stratification.